Lytudiep. Hello dear friends. Today, a love story of Tu Diep and Jame. Will they overcome challenges to be together? Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more upcoming video. Can love overcome the trials of illness? Tu Diep, after recovering from a life-threatening disease, accepts Jame's proposal during a romantic getaway. They plan to get married at a church, but an unexpected setback occurs. Jame's mother suddenly falls ill, causing their wedding plans to be put on hold. Can James rearrange his work and return to care for his mother? Meanwhile, James asks Diep to take care of his mother. Will Tu Diep be able to overcome her worries and fulfill this responsibility? Despite her illness, James' mother begins to realize Tu Diep's kindness, sincerity, and devotion. Can she be at peace about her son's future? As his mother's health gradually improves, she urges James to get married soon. Can James fulfill his promise to Diep and bring her home as his bride, just as he promised? How will this story end when love and family are the most important aspects of life? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow this story and many more exciting videos ahead. The soft sunlight of early summer gently stretched across the small road, leading to the beach. The ocean, to deep blue, seemed to merge with the sky, and the sound of the waves crashing created a gentle lullaby from nature. Tu Diep closed her eyes for a moment, took a deep breath, and felt the salty breeze brush lightly against her cheek. For the first time, after months of battling a serious illness, she felt truly alive. No longer the long hospital days, the smell of antiseptic, the worried looks from her loved ones, or the never-ending pie that seemed like it would never cease. James stood quietly behind her, watching her every move with eyes full of love. He could still vividly remember the day he received the doctor's diagnosis, and his heart felt as though it was being crushed. But Tu Diep never gave up. She fought not only for herself, but for the love they had nurtured over the years. And today, seeing her standing there healthy, radiant under the golden sunlight, his heart overflowed with happiness. Tu Diep, he called, gently stepping closer. She turned around, her eyes sparkling like the ocean, reflecting the blue sky. "What is it, James?" James took her hand in his, warm and gentle as always. But this time there was something different. He didn't say anything, simply led her to a large rock overlooking the sea, where the white waves crashed beneath their feet. "I have something to ask you." His voice suddenly turned serious. Tu Diep was a little surprised, about to ask something, but before she could, James knelt down and pulled out a small, red velvet box from his pocket. He opened it, revealing a silver ring that sparkled under the sunlight. Tu Diep froze, her heart momentarily stopping in that moment. "Tu Diep, during all the days you were in the hospital, I prayed every night. I just wanted you to live. I just wanted you to be well, a guy. I promise I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you and loving you." Will you marry me? Be my wife, and walk through the rest of our lives together. She raised her hand to cover her mouth, tears quietly falling from her eyes. OT tears of sorrow but of happiness. A happiness she had once thought would be forever out of reach. The months of enduring illness, the blood transfusions, the moments of collapsing and then standing up a guy. It was all worth it just for this moment. Yes. I accept. Tu Diep choked out, nodding vigorously. James stood up, pulling her into his arms. The waves crashed louder as if blessing them, and the wind whispered softly like a hymn to their love. To people, to hearts that had been through the worst, are united in a moment of pure joy. A few weeks later, they went together to register their marriage. The simple certificate, yet so sacred, made both of them deeply emotional. Tu Diep looked at her name beside his, feeling as though she were dreaming. But this was a beautiful dream that was real. A dream she had longed for during the hardest times, when she felt she might not make it. They planned to hold their wedding at a beautiful church by the river, with walls covered in blooming bougainvillea, and the sound of the bell ringing every evening. The bride would wear a pure white dress, and the groom would be sharp in a black suit. They would walk down a flower-laden aisle, under the witness of friends and family, exchanging vows under the soft glow of candlelight. James had even hired a small band to play their favorite love song, the song Tu Diep used to listen to in the hospital, dreaming of the day he would propose. Tu Diep smiled every time she thought about their future. She didn't want an extravagant wedding, didn't need hundreds of guests. Just a heartfelt promise, and his gentle gaze was enough. Their love, born out of pie, had grown stronger through loss, and now it was ready to move to a new chapter. A chapter of peace, of family, and of a bright new beginning in the everyday sunlight of life. For Tu Diep and James, life seemed to have entered a beautiful new chapter. They were not only legally married, but also companions, sharing both their joys and challenges. They had planned a romantic wedding by the river, with the church bells ringing every evening, a place where they would exchange their vows of eternal love. But life, like a book, is never without surprises. An unexpected event came along and changed everything. James' mother, the woman Tu Diep had loved and respected for a long time, suddenly fell seriously ill. On that day, when James received the call from the hospital, his expression immediately changed. He quickly dropped everything, preparing to visit his mother. But when he arrived, things were not looking good. She had developed severe pneumonia, and her health was deteriorating rapidly. Although the doctors had done their best to reassure him, James couldn't shake off the anxiety and concern. "James, don't worry too much. I just need rest." His mother tried to smile, but her eyes showed the fatigue she could no longer hide. James held her hand tightly, his face filled with worry. "Mom, don't worry. I'll do whatever it takes to help you get better." However, James' work couldn't be put on hold for too long. He had an important meeting that he couldn't miss, which meant he had to leave the city the very next day. He looked over at Tu Diep, his eyes full of concern. He couldn't leave his mother alone in such a condition, and he knew what he had to do. Though Tu Diep was still recovering herself, he trusted her. She had always been kind and loving to his mother. He decided to ask Tu Diep to stay and take care of her. Tu Diep, could you help me take care of my mom? I know you still need to rest, but she can't be alone right now. I trust you more than anyone else, and she loves you too. Tu Diep immediately nodded. Even though she wasn't completely recovered, she couldn't refuse James' request. Don't worry, I'll take good care of your mom. Over the next few days, Tu Diep became a constant presence at her mother-in-law's side. She helped her with meals, cleaned, and sat beside her whenever she woke up, holding her hand, speaking softly to comfort her. Each day, Tu Diep grew closer to her. She no longer saw Jane's mother as just a relative, but as her second mother. Tu Diep cared for her not out of obligation, but out of love. She understood that in this moment, this woman needed a daughter by her side, just as she had once needed her own mother when she was ill. Despite her illness, James' mother never stopped caring for Tu Diep. After a few days, she began to realize that Tu Diep was not just a good woman, but a truly wonderful daughter-in-law. She looked at Tu Diep with softer eyes, and her constant praises eased the worry in Tu Diep's heart. She could feel the sincerity and love Tu Diep had for the family. One afternoon, as the sunset bathed the room in a soft orange glow, James' mother took Tu Diep's hand. Her voice, the weak, was filled with affection. Tu Diep, you are a good girl. I can see that you truly love James. I'm so happy that you're the one he's chose. Tell him not to delay our wedding any longer. I'll get better soon, and you don't need to worry about me anymore. Tu Diep choked up as she listened to these words from her mother-in-law. She looked at her heart swelling with emotion. Though her health was frail, the love she gave to Tu Diep was unwavering. Her hands were soft, but her eyes were strong and resolute. That evening, Tu Diep called James to update him on his mother's condition and to relay the message. James, your mom said that we shouldn't postpone the wedding anymore. She wants us to get married as soon as she gets better. James, who had been out of tow, was moved by Tu Diep's words. He felt a surge of emotion. He realized that their love wasn't just the bond between two people, but the connection between their hearts, their families, and the people they cared for. He promised Tu Diep, his voice filled with certainty, when Mom gets better, we'll have our wedding. She'll be there to witness the most wonderful moment of our lives. Time passed, and James' mother gradually regained her health. Though she wasn't fully recovered, there were encouraging signs. She could sit up, eat normally, and her spirits were much brighter. Tu Diep felt a great sense of relief as the worries in her heart began to ease. She continued to care for her mother-in-law with all the love she had, but she still carried a heavy longing. Her desire for them to finally hold their wedding, to fulfill the promises they had made to each other. She firmly believed that once her mother-in-law was well a guy, everything would fall into place. James, though busy with work, would still call Tu Diep every evening. He asked about his mother's condition and comforted her, ensuring she didn't feel lonely. But in James' eyes, Tu Diep could see the Tu Diep where he carried. He longed for the day when his mother would be fully recovered, so that he could return to Tu Diep and finally have the wedding they had dreamed of for so long. Even though they were physically apart, each phone call brought them closer together. That day finally arrived. James' mother was informed that she could be discharged from the hospital within a few days. Tu Diep was overjoyed. After months of taking care of her, the miracle had come. His mother was well enough to participate in the plans they had made long ago. James hurried to arrange his work schedule and return to Tu Diep and his mother. He couldn't wait any longer to fulfill his promise to her. When James finally returned home, Tu Diep stood there smiling, her eyes sparkling with happiness. They had been through so much together, and now a new chapter in their lives was about to begin. James walked over to his mother, took her hand and with a look full of love said, "Mom, you're doing so much better. I feel so relieved." James' mother smiled warmly at them, her gaze full of affection. "You two are getting married, right? I can't wait for that day. I want to see the most beautiful moment of your lives." With Tu Diep emotion, James looked into Tu Diep's eyes. "I promise I'll always be by your side, building a happy family with you. Our wedding will be a new beginning, a wonderful milestone in our lives." Tu Diep nodded, a smile never leaving her face. "I've always believed in us. I believe that our love will overcome any challenge." Afterward, the family decided to go to the church where James and Tu Diep had planned their wedding. They went not just to pray for their own love, but also to pray for the health and safety of all their loved ones. As they stepped into the church, the serene, tranquil atmosphere filled the space. The soft glow of candles and the gentle fragrance of flowers added a sense of warmth and reverence to the air. James and Tu Diep knelt before the altar, holding hands tightly. Together they prayed, wishing for the full recovery of James' mother, for the well-being of their family, and for happiness to fill their lives. Tu Diep silently prayed to the heavens for a joyful life with James, for their love to continue to grow, and for them to be blessed with many children, so their love could be passed on to future generations. May our family always be safe and healthy, and may our love remain strong. May we soon have children to fill our lives with laughter and joy." Diep prayed silently, her heart full of hope. James squeezed Tu Diep's hand, looked into her eyes and said, "I pray for us too, for a future full of joy and love. I want our family to always be happy." After praying, they stood up and looked toward the church doors, where the light shone through, symbolizing a new beginning. Each step they took together felt like a step toward a future full of joy, love, and hope. They both understood that love was the foundation that would help them overcome any obstacle, and with it, They would build a family full of warmth and care. The wedding day was drawing closer, and they knew that when they stepped into the church, they wouldn't just be two individuals, but two souls that had been through so much together, all embarking on a new life side by side forever. The story of Tu Diep and James is a touching and meaningful journey, where love, patience, and sacrifice are clearly portrayed. From struggles with illness to challenges in family life, they overcame everything together. Their relationship is not just about romance, but also a testament to true love, a love built on care, concern, and trust. Tu Diep's willingness to take care of James' mother during her illness shows her maturity and selflessness. This story reminds us that love is not just about sweet moments, but also the small, meaningful actions in everyday life. Despite difficulties, the challenges in life cannot dull the sincere affection between them. Especially the image of them praying at the church, where James indeed place all their hopes and wishes for the future, is a beautiful and meaningful moment. This story not only brings lessons about love, but also serves as an inspiration for each of us to live sincerely in love with all our hearts. Do you see this story in your story? Thank you for following the story.